Hello, how are we doing, everyone? My name is Trevon from freestudiotime.com, and today I'm going to go over parallel compression with you all, one of the main methods I use to get fat, thick vocals. Pause. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So what is parallel compression? This is a very popular method of compression that involves mixing a dry and wet signal. When done correctly, this adds presence, depth, and texture to your voice. I like to use this in songs I've recorded that call for thick vocals or songs where I feel like the dynamics are a few steps behind where they actually need to be. Also, be cautious when using this method because when done incorrectly, this can present phasing issues that can destroy your mix. So now that I've told you what parallel compression is and when to use it, let me show you how to properly set it up. First thing to do is add a compressor. This compressor will be considered the dry aspect of the equation, mainly because we'll be using only subtle adjustments. 3-to-1 ratio with a 15 millisecond attack and 180 millisecond release time is a great starting point. Alright, so I just finished adding my compression adjustments. I am about to show you what this song sounds like. FYI, this is a song from about I think 2 years ago I made, and I just never did anything with. So let me just show you what it sounds like with the compression settings.
Back to the same place I was senior year in high school. Thought taking a break from love will help desensitize myself.
Second step to parallel compression is making a parallel track. We do this by copying all of the vocals we want inside of our parallel. Whether you choose to add background vocals or not is totally dependent upon you. Make sure you turn off all special effect plugins except EQ, compression, and de-esser before you do this step because you will be making a copy of the exact settings you have when you press the render button. This step also varies from DAW to DAW, so make sure you figure out how to properly render a copy of your vocals in the mix with the keyboard actions list your DAW provides you with. So now everyone, we just made a copy of our vocals. Let's route it to its own channel. How I route tracks to their own channels inside of FL Studio. Just double click and I check what I have available outside of the vocal bus. If I come over here to the vocal bus, it is at track number 7. So that means track number 7. This is my background bus. So let's do track number 9. I already have something on track number 9, so let's do track number 10. Cool. So we're gonna go to track number 10 for this. Track number 10. So now that we have this track routed to its own separate channel, there's a few things that we need to add before compression. One, EQ, and this is because here we want this wet track to blend nicely with our dry. We want to treat this EQ similarly to like how we treat EQ on background vocals, meaning high pass filter on the low end, low pass filter on the high end, and a bit of subtractive EQ. Try to avoid using additive EQ since this is the wet track or the track we use to thicken up what we already have from the dry. All right, everyone, if you take a look down here, you'll notice I only have a low and a high pass filter, and I didn't do any subtractive or additive EQ, and that was mainly because I didn't want to adjust the bulk of what we have already, because at the end of the day, this is only meant to thicken up what we already have inside of the vocal bus. So that's why I kind of just went very minimal on this specific plugin. Now the next thing to do is add our compressor. We'll be using extreme settings to ensure all dynamics from this parallel track are absolutely squashed and we get what we want from this wet track, which is the food we need to give our vocals a bigger body. Ratio time should be as high as possible, 20:1, 30:1. In my case, I'm using the CLA 11-76, which has a 100:1 ratio. Make sure you use fast attack times somewhere around 8 milliseconds, and a medium size release somewhere around 120 to 150 milliseconds to really catch those dynamics. FYI, the settings I have on this compressor is far different than what the settings on a generic compressor would be, so just take my notes into consideration and not what you see for this step. Alright everyone, so the third step is to add a de-esser to minimize the sibilance you will inevitably have after using the aggressive compression. Make sure to go aggressive on the de-esser as well, because any sibilance in the wet signal will be compounded on top of what you already have for the dry signal, which will give you a harsh finished product. So fourth step, everyone, is to add another EQ just in case you might have any frequency imbalances to adjust after the harsh compression we just used. All right, everyone, fifth step is to blend everything together until you get your desired sound. Another important note is to match the makeup gain you used on the dry signals compression to be sure we get our tones as balanced as possible. After that, turn the wet signal bus down in the mix until you get your desired level of thickness. All right, everyone, and the last thing that we need to do now is route this parallel track to the vocal bus to ensure that we get every single plugin that we need on the parallel bus track without adding any additional plugins and affecting the CPU of the track, so your tracks don't crash. Really helps out. All right, everyone, so I just finished the adjustments that I needed to make. So I'm just gonna turn the parallel track up and turn it down to blend in, just so you can see how everything really fits well together, which is what we're really going for.
Back to the same place I was senior year in high school. Another day with the lights turned off on my bed, feeling like a fool. Thought taking a break from love will help desensitize myself. Can't help the words they say to me, but strain on my health. Is it how I look? Is it what I say? Something's gotta be off since you keep
Alright everyone, that is how we use parallel compression. And if you're a beginner struggling to get through the mixing process, click the link in my description and I'll break down the mixing process for you. Also, how to get the most from stock plugins, which will lead to immediate growth, and I can guarantee that. So if you got a lot of value out of this video, hit subscribe and I will catch you all on the flip side.